culture. Classic pop culture.
Hi, everybody. This is Steve Ludwig, host of Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture and the Beatles Hour with Steve Ludwig at PlanetLudwig.com. Here's an interview we did with Karl Green, our first interview with Karl, on December 2nd, 2014. It's from show number 68. To hear the entire show, check out the menu at PlanetLudwig.com. And now, please enjoy the interview. Our guest is one of the founding members of certainly one of the most legendary groups in pop music history. They charted over 20 U.S. singles. He actually sang lead before and after Peter Noone joined Herman'S Hermits. I can't tell you what a thrill and an honor it is to welcome to the show Mr. Karl Green. Hi, Karl. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to speak with you. I was just talking to you before we got on the air. I'm a first-generation Hermits fan, and it's so great to be able to speak with my musical heroes such as yourself. So I really appreciate you giving us some time.
No problem.
Now, Karl, I think a lot of, probably many casual Herman'S Hermits fans don't realize that you were the original lead singer, and you were in the group before Peter Noone even joined. Could you give us a little background of the history?
Yeah, the band, as it started, was a guy called Al Wrigley on bass, a guy called Steve Titterington on drums, a guy called Al Chadwick on guitar, and Al had been in a band before that I'd been in, and they needed a rhythm guitar player and singer, or, we all sang, but they needed another singer. So they called me and I said, yeah, fine, I'll go and join them. And then I went and joined the Heartbeats, as they were called. And I used to sing as well as Al Wrigley. We both sang different songs. And we carried on for a little while, rehearsing and doing a few gigs. And I said, I'm not really happy being a lead singer because I didn't think I was good enough. And Al Wrigley said he knew a guy called Peter Noone who was a very good-looking guy. The ladies loved him, the young girls loved him. So we played a place, I think it's called the Collingdale Youth Club, if I remember rightly. And Al knew that Peter was coming along, so we said we'd ask him up to come and sing the song. And we did a thing called I'll Never Dance Again.
Beautiful song.
Rydell. Yeah, and Peter apparently knew this, because he'd been singing with other bands and various things. He'd been doing a bit of TV work and stuff. And we just invited him up to come and sing this song with us. And the girls screamed at him. They loved him. So we thought, got to be an asset for the band,
Sure.
And Al said, should we get him? And we all said, yeah, fine. He's got to be an asset. So Al asked him to join the band. And Peter said, yeah. And the rest is history. We became the Heartbeats. Then we became Peter Novak and the Heartbeats. And later on, we became Herman and the Hermits because Peter looked a little bit like the character Sherman. If you remember Sherman from the Bullwinkle show.
Sherman and Peabody, sure.
That's right, Dr. Peabody, who was a dog, and he had a pet boy called Sherman. And Peter, we had a guest piano player with us one night called Musher Knowles, and he wore horn-rimmed glasses like Buddy Holly. And Peter put these glasses on one night and looked just like Sherman, and I started calling him Sherman. And during the night, we've had a few beers at the age of 15. You know what it's like. And everyone, it sort of morphed into Herman during the night because we were all mad American music fans. And it was our dream in those days to eventually come to America if we ever could. And it sort of morphed into Herman. And I think the bass player, Al, sort of went, yeah, we're Hermits. Why don't we call ourselves Herman and the Hermits? And there it was. The rest is history.
Oh, history is so true. Can you believe, Karl, that it's 50 years since I'm Into Something Good came out? Boy, does time fly, huh?
Yeah, 50 years. That was the reason I came over here in the summer, just to say thank you to the fans for 50 fantastic years of my life, because it did. All the fans that bought the records changed my life for the better, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I've had a great life because of them. And I came over in the summer because some people met me on Facebook and said, would I come over and play, in their band? First of all, they wanted me to see if I would get back together with Peter and the rest of the band. And I've always said if there's a 50th anniversary tour or whatever, I'd definitely in for it. But I don't think two of the other guys don't get on that well, so I don't think that'll ever happen.
Yeah.
So I came over just to sort of play some grassroots, to play some. I don't know if you understand what grassroots means, but
sure,
to play some gigs like we used to in the old days, bars where you can actually speak to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it'd be a great idea just to meet people and say thanks and play, and have a good time.
How's that been for you, Karl?
Fantastic! I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, and this trip as well, we're doing the smaller gigs just to rehearse the band I put together for tours next year. Hopefully, we're going to do March, April next year, or the end of February through March and April, and then there's a summer tour, July, August. Maybe doing the 60s festivals and things like that.
Oh boy, will that be great! 2015, the return of the Karl Green Band. Karl, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that you weren't happy with the way your voice sounded lead singing. But we led into this interview with "Ginny Goes Softly," and boy, that's a beautiful song, and you did that beautifully. I think you're being hard on yourself.
Well, I'm no Peter Noon, but
and he's no Karl Green.
Yeah. I sing rock mostly, and I have done for the last 30 years. When I'm at home, I've got a rock band that we just play pubs for fun, and I've always been really into rock. My favourite singer back in the in the early days was Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis, all that sort of stuff.
Mm. How was it playing? I mean, Herman'S Hermits was kind of a soft rock, soft pop. Did you ever say to yourself, "Come on, let's rock out here a little more"? Did that ever come up with the group? I mean, there were some rocking songs, but
yeah, we did a thing called Sea Cruise, which was one of my favourites, Frankie Ford's number, and we re-recorded a lot of the Herman's Hermits stuff back in the 70s with me singing on those, and I could rock out on the Sea Cruise. Yeah, we re-recorded that, which was completely different than the original, and I enjoyed doing that. In the show we do now, I sort of pay tribute to people like Jack Bruce. We do a Crossroads by Cream.
Rest in peace.
Do Rocky Mountain Way by Joe Walsh.
Boy.
Joe Cocker stuff.
Nice.
That was me. In the early days, I was a real rocker. I even had my hair with the DA at the back.
And the duck says.
Chris at the front, yeah.
I'll tell you, Karl, my reservation's been confirmed as a rocker, though. That's one of the Hermits. Yeah, I really like that one as a rocker. Yeah,
but the trouble was, back in the day, Mickey would record these songs and go great rock sound.
Mickey Most.
And we'd give them, Mickey Most recorded My Reservation. It had a fantastic long guitar intro on it, because most people didn't realise what a great rock guitar player Lech was. And we gave all the masters to MGM, and they cut all the rocky stuff off, and they took all the bottom end out, and we said to them, why do you cut the bass out of all these records? And they said, because it doesn't sound right on the radio. So they changed the sound a little bit, and Mickey wasn't too pleased about that.
Yeah, how'd that make you guys feel, Karl?
We just sort of we just resigned ourselves to the fact that they were in charge. We were young guys. We didn't really know much about the business in the early days, But now we've learned. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Mickey Most was all over the place in the 60s and the 70s. How was he as a producer? What'd you think of him?
Oh, fantastic producer. Yeah, he apart from us, he produced the Nashville Teens, Terry Reid, Lulu, a band called CCS that really rocked out.
I think Donovan as well.
Donovan, yeah, he did. In fact, we did a Donovan song called Museum, which was a little bit rockier.
Sure, of course, yeah.
But I don't think the fans like that sort of stuff, because it didn't really do as well as all the other stuff. We were more known for our sort of quirky stuff like Mrs. Brown and Henry VIII and Leaning on a Lamppost. They were the biggest sellers. We got sort of stuck with that image,
Yeah, sure. The independent film channel a few months ago ran "Hold On" and Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter. And hold on, Karl. The funniest scene in that movie is you at the carnival when you win the prize.
Yeah, I was just looking at that on YouTube. Yeah.
Could you just share that scene with the listeners for those who may have forgotten about it for the movie Hold On?
Yeah, if I remember rightly, we were at a fun fair, and I was a rifle ranger or something like that, where I win a prize. And the guy comes up and says, "This is your prize for winning whatever it is," and he gives me one of our own albums. And what did I say? Yeah, I just sort of turned around and said, "Oh, thanks a lot."
You hand it back to him.
That's right. Yeah, walk off in disgust. Yeah.
Hey, Karl, I want to just take a second. I want to thank Connor Mahoney for setting this up with us. Connor's a great guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's the guy that got me over originally. Messaged. He's the guy that messaged me on Facebook and said, "Would I be prepared to get back together with Peter and the boys?" Mm. And then when I said that, I don't think it'll ever happen, he said, "Well, would I be prepared to come and play with some musician friends of his?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" I was doing nothing. I was retired from my other businesses that I'd started, and I was just playing, sort of local gigs. I wasn't doing anything big over there. I'm a sound engineer as well, so I actually work as a sound engineer for various rock bands in England. And I came over in the summer and had a great time.
Mm. Yeah, you mentioned you were a sound engineer, Karl. Now, the Hermits, they broke up in, 71 before they reformed?
Yes, Peter left in 71.
Yeah.
We carried on as the Hermits for a while, and then we came back together. We got back together in 73 for like a 60s invasion with Billy Kramer, with Jerry Mars, Joe and the Pacemakers, the Searchers, Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders. Finished that tour, and then Peter said, "I'm off again." So we thought we'd stay together, and we didn't realise at the time it was quite a big market over here for Herman'S Hermits still. So we started touring the States again in 74, and I remained with the band then until 1980, when I decided it was time to start a family, and I desperately wanted kids, so I left the band to start a family.
And 3 daughters later, right?
Yeah, I've got 3 lovely daughters, all grown up now.
Yeah.
I didn't leave them for a day in their sort of formative years, which I thought was very important. If you're going to have kids, it's no good flying off for a month at a time, or 2 months, and never seeing them grow up. So I was with them from the day they were born right until they reached some of their 20s.
Yeah.
And, now they're all grown up, so I thought it's me time again.
Yeah.
That's why I come over and had a good time, yeah.
I had Paul Cowsill from the Cowsills on about a month ago, and he's going to be in the 2015 Happy Together tour with the Turtles. And I said, wow, that's going to be great. He goes, yeah, but I'm leaving the family for a few months. So I think that really does come into your thought, doesn't it? Seems glamorous, but you're away from your family when you go on tour.
Yeah, that's right. And I saw all the guys in the band, like Leck, Barry, Keith, they all had kids while they were on the road. And they really missed them. It was a wrench to come away and leave your little, young ankle biters around. And you just missed seeing them grow up,
Sure. Well, were you upset at Peter when he decided to leave the band, Karl, or were you okay with it?
Well, it was his decision. I was sorry to see him go because, he left quite a successful band to pursue his solo career. But when he left, we just sort of regrouped we rethought everything. We tried to change our direction and do more different kind of music. And we went with a company, RCA in England, made a fantastic album that we thought was fantastic anyway. And there was a lot of infighting within with RCA, and the album never got released. So that was shelved for years.
What was the name of that album, Karl?
It was called A Whale of a Tale, and the band was called Sour Mash at the time. It's still available through Keith Hopwood. I stay in touch with him. I see him more than any of the guys, and he's got it. He remastered this Whale of a Tale, and he sells it from his website now.
Oh, that's great to know. Actually, it was you and Keith who formed the band originally, isn't that right? Or weren't you two the co-founders?
Myself. After Al Chadwick left the Heartbeats, and Keith came in when we were Herman and the Hermits. And Keith and I lived near each other. And at one point, when we went to our first record test with Mickey Most, and he said the bass player and the drummer were no good, they weren't up to scratch. Come back and when you've got a new bass player and drummer, and with the disappointment, the band just sort of fell apart. And Keith and I were going to do to get together and do an Everly's thing, sing, just me and him sing harmonies and stuff. And then our management said, Peter wants to get back together with you and Keith, talking about me, and we'll try and find a guitar player or a new bass player. And we couldn't find a bass player, so I went on to bass because we found Lek and Barry from another group. They came in, I chopped over to bass, and went back to Mickey, and he said, yeah, the band sounds good, now we'll record. And within months, we had a number one record in England, yeah.
Derek Leckenby, another one who died way too young, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I miss him terribly, yeah. He was a really good friend. We had a kind of love-hate relationship. We were always at each other's throats, but it helped the band because we became more creative because we were bouncing off each other, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of good things come from people disagreeing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Karl, do you feel that you write better under duress, or like if you're in a happy mood? It doesn't seem like it's as easy to write. If you're really going through something, that seems when you really let your defenses down. Does that work for you?
Writing is very emotional, isn't it? I think when you're happy, you write happy songs, and when you're a bit down, you write. You let your emotions run away with you, and it's nice to be able to sort of capture all that when you're writing songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I hear a sad song, I kind of say to myself, I might not always admit that I feel that way, but it's good that someone feels the same. We can all feel happy, but it's good to know that someone shares those tough times as well.
The down moments, yeah. But there's always someone that feels worse than you. Yeah, I'm a sort of
excellent
glass
point.
half full person. Yeah.
Yep. Good, very good point. Karl, as a sound engineer, when you go into a venue, even if you're not the sound engineer, if you're just going to play, can you say to yourself just by looking around, we're going to have some problems here? Are you able to do that before before you even start plugging things in?
Not by. Yeah, if there's not enough subs in a room, I definitely know. I notice. I like the kick drum and bass to be knocking me against the wall, and I like to listen to a band that really nails it. Hard rock, yeah.
Yeah,
we went to see Ace Frehley the other night. And,
yes, I saw it on Facebook. I saw you posted that on Facebook. Sure. How was he?
Had quite a lot. It was good sound, but I couldn't hear the vocals enough, and I couldn't hear the guitars enough. There was the kick and bass were hammering. The drums were great, but I'm very critical though. There weren't enough high frequencies on the voice and the guitars. It could be I'm going deaf. You never know.
Nah, I think you're hearing right. I was speaking with a comedian the other day, and he was saying that when he plays a club, he prefers the ceilings to be as low as possible because the laughter just kind of bounces off.
Yeah,
and it just kind of has a nice overall feel that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Hermits play the Cavern?
Oh yeah, we played the Cavern many times. We did a whole series of Monday lunchtime sessions before we recorded. We used to play there as a Heartbeat and as Herman and the Hermits, and then as Herman'S Hermits. And we used to do Monday lunchtime sessions with the Kinks, would you believe? They used to travel all the way from London.
I just saw Dave Davis the other night in Englewood, New Jersey. Yeah, because I have a question or two for you about the Cavern. I had Terry Sylvester of the Hollies on about a year ago, and I asked him physically with the Cavern Club. I know this may sound silly, but what did it smell like? And can you give a feel? Was it dank, as we always read about? What kind of a venue was it? Was it just kind of sweaty? And what do you think of the Cavern Club?
Very humid, very humid. You would be stood in the dressing room, which would be freezing cold, and then you'd walk onto the stage, and your guitars were flattened by a good tone because the stage was so hot and steamy and moist. Within seconds, your guitar would be covered in condensation. But the atmosphere was great, and it always smelled very fruity in there because I think they were old fruit storage cellars. And we used to play there with Terry when he was with a band called The Escorts. They were on every week with us. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Pete Clark became a very good friend who I still keep in contact with. He was with The Escorts as well.
Now, You switched to bass when Lek came to the band. What do you prefer, bass or lead guitar?
Well, quite like I've been playing bass for 50 years, but just recently in the band I've got now, I sort of switch from bass to guitar now and again. Play a lot of rock stuff on guitar, but I don't play lead guitar. I just play sort of rhythm and riffs and stuff. You know? But I enjoy just switching about. But I think bass is my first love because you're in charge of the power.
Yeah,
the engine room. You keep things kicking. Yeah.
Karl, why don't you tell us who's in the Karl Green band? Who you're
Sorry?
touring? Why don't you tell us who's in the Karl Green band today?
Oh, yeah.
Who you're touring with?
Yeah, we've got, on lead guitar vocals, we've got a guy called Bobby Abrams, who was with a band called the Buckinghams, who's a fantastic lead guitar player, great singer, good personality. On bass and guitar and vocals, we have Mr. Mike Broccoleri, he also played with Peter Noon in Peter's Herman'S Hermits for a while. And on drums, we've got a lovely lady called Gina Knight who really does kick. She's a very powerful drummer. The first gig I did with her, she said, "How do you want me to play?" And I just said, "Knock me over." You know, sort of just blow me away, and she's done that every night ever since. And she sings as well. She sings, we do a thing about the Beatles come together, she sings that, and sings a couple of other things as well, and sings backup on everything. So there's four of us who sing. And it's a true band. It's not me out front. It's a four-piece band. Yeah.
You prefer it that way?
Oh yeah. I've not got the bottle to go out as a solo artist. I've always been in the band, and I don't want to be a solo artist at all. I enjoy the camaraderie of being in a band. Mm-hmm. It's like a family on the road, you know.
Yeah, sure. What? I'm assuming you may have played a bill or two with the Beatles. You mentioned the Beatles. Did the Hermits play on same bills as the Beatles at all? Or have you met the Beatles, put it that way, back in the day?
Oh, yeah, I met the Beatles a few times. I used to see them at the Cavern now and again. And we played the NME Poll Winners Concert with the Beatles, I think it was twice. And Paul came into our dressing room and said, "Good luck, guys, you know, come around and greet everybody." Very nice fella.
I wanted to let our listeners know that there are the Hermits minus Peter Noon. You have a few videos on YouTube with you singing lead, and those are some really great performances. I'm thinking of I've seen a couple of them when you guys are wearing your kind of powder blue outfits.
Sorry, I missed that.
No, I wanted to let our listeners know that on YouTube I saw a couple of really nice videos of the Hermits without Peter Noon. It's the ones with you guys wearing the powder blue outfits. I mean, they're really some nice performances by the Hermits.
Oh, good. Yeah, we did a few songs. We did a thing called Heart Get Ready for Love as well, which I think is on YouTube. Yep. And the guy called Frank Renshaw, who was in the Hermits in the 70s, he sang a B-side that we did called Truck Stop Mama. And that's a little bit more like the way the Karl Green Band is. It's a lot rockier. That's the way we wanted to go. But we kept playing the old hits, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when people come to see the Karl Green Band, it's a mix of Hermits and rock classics, other rock classics, I would assume. Yeah.
Most of the show is the old Herman'S Hermits stuff, because that's what people want to hear. And after laying off for so many years, I hadn't played any of those things for 34 years. And I'm really enjoying doing them again now because of the audience. You see how everybody in the audience, they know the words. It's wonderful to sort of see people having a good time.
You don't even
along with all of it.
Yeah, you don't even need a lead singer, right?
That's right. Yeah,
your audience is right.
You just stop and let everybody sing, and the whole audience, everybody. And it's quite heartwarming actually to see everybody doing all that. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I guess you realize this, Karl, but you know when we hear the old songs like that, I literally get goosebumps if I hear them being sung live. It means so much to people. It just takes you right back. And can you feel that coming back from the audience, that what your musical legacy meant to them, meant to us?
Yeah, and also sort of playing these gigs where I can actually talk to people before and after the show. They all come up and say, "Yeah, I remember that song. It was we were singing that song at our wedding, or when I was graduating from high school, or with my first girlfriend. I remember dating my first girlfriend to your record." Yeah, you can see the pleasure in their faces. They really are taken back to really good memories, and because we are all our memories, aren't we? Our memories make us what we are. And if we can bring all that happiness into people's lives, then it's nice to see that we can change people's lives just a little. You know?
Music has such power. I'm not saying anything that many people don't know, but it is the universal language. I mean,
oh yeah, I firmly believe that music has got healing powers. You know, if you feel down and out, you listen to some really good music, and it can warm your heart and lift you.
I'm with you.
Person's spirits.
Yeah. You mentioned Little Richard, but what about when you were a little boy? What did your parents listen to in the Karl Green household?
My mum was into big bands and stuff, but I got an older brother who introduced me to people like Big Bopper and all that sort of stuff. And I used to live near the docks in Manchester, and I used to go to the pubs when I was about 9 years old, go and stand outside the pubs and wait for all the American sailors to come off the boats. And they used to give us chewing gum, and we'd say, have you got any records? And they'd give us, the old 45s of people like... I used to listen to Muddy Waters, Chuck Berry, Big Bopper. I'm trying to think now. They all disappeared out of my head. Jerry Lee Lewis, Richard, all those sort of things. And a guy called Charlie Gracie was one of the first records I got. And that's what that's what made me think, this American rock was just so different than anything we had in England. Because in England, all we had was crooners and guys that would sing soft stuff like Cliff Richard. Lonnie Donegan was singing like an English folk that was called skiffle.
That's your chewing gum.
That's right, yeah. I used to love all that stuff. But when I heard Little Richard sing, I just thought, this is so different. And then the English, we just sort of rehashed it and sold it back to the Americans.
Yeah, well,
incredible.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Karl, because you said, gee, the American music seems so different to you, yet back here in America, when we heard the British invasion bands, we said, wow, I've never heard anything like that before. So isn't it funny?
Yeah, we just sort of reconstitute stuff. I mean, the Beatles did a lot of Chuck Berry stuff and the Crystals and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of Americans didn't realize, because you hadn't heard the stuff that we were listening to. We just put harmonies where there was just normally a lead singer. We were very big into harmonies because I used to listen to the Everlys as well. So every song that we listened to, we'd try and put different harmonies to it. And that's where Lennon was so good. John Lennon used to put some weird harmonies to songs, which made it sound completely different. And then, it all went back to the States and was reconstituted,
Yeah, it's ironic how your British bands actually taught many of us younger teenagers about our own music in a weird kind of way. I learned about Chuck Berry from the Beatles and, from the Hermits and things like that. And yet, when I was growing up, I wasn't a Chuck Berry fan till I heard it from the British invasion groups.
Yeah, the Stones, the Rolling Stones, their first record was a Chuck Berry song called Come On. Right. And then they did lots of Chuck Berry things that had sort of semi-hits or B-sides or whatever. And in England, we didn't even realize until later that they were all sort of songs from the States. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about the Ed Sullivan Show and Hullabaloo? What are your memories of being on, like Ed Sullivan, for instance? What do you remember about Ed Sullivan?
It was mayhem, absolute mayhem. To get in and out of the theatre, we had to have lines and lines of police to keep. There was crowds of girls lining the streets, and it's quite a long pavement. I don't know if it's the same now, but it was a long pavement between the street and the building. We got in all right. The police line held. We got in, did the show, caused a union dispute because we plugged our own guitars in. We didn't realise that we had to wait for the technicians to plug our guitars into the amp. We did that ourselves. And the union sort of said, all out,
Welcome to America.
Yeah. And then on the way out, we did the show, which was fantastic, enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. And then on the way out, we had this police cordon again, and I ran from the building, and one of the cops was trying to open the limo door as I was bending to get in. He pulled the door, it stuck. And once it released, the door corner came out and hit me in the corner of my eye and cut my eye, and I was bleeding everywhere. I turned away from there, and a girl from the crowd leaned forward with a pair of scissors trying to cut my hair. And the scissors went into the brow on my other eye. So I was pouring blood out of both eyes, jumped into the limo, claret everywhere. Claret means blood, by the way, and just bled all over the place. And then I got charged for cleaning the limo later.
Oh,
So
my
that's
God.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
I had to pay to have the limo cleaned up because there was so much blood everywhere.
Ay, ay, ay. Holy smokes.
But it was fun. I didn't get seriously injured.
It's memories,
They're only small cuts, yeah.
Did you personally get a chance to meet Ed Sullivan, or did he not? He just...
Yeah, we met him. Peter talked with him quite a bit because they were both, into going to church. They're both Catholics, and I think they talked quite a bit about the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. But we just, the band was sort of, didn't get a chance to meet people as much as Peter because he was always like he would always do the talking and meet people. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you good with that? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I was going to ask you.
Just saying that, go on.
I'm a nice interviewer. I keep interrupting my guest.
No problem.
No, I was going to ask, what did Peter seemed to be like the spokesperson of the group. How did the other guys in the band feel about that? Were they okay with it?
Well, quite honestly, when we used to get to different towns, we were quite okay with letting Peter go and do all the work in the interviews. We used to just go by the swimming pool and have a good time. But if anybody wanted us to go and have a conversation on radio, we'd go and do it. We were quite pleased to do it. But because Peter was, as you say, the spokesperson, it was mostly him that did all the interviews. Because they didn't have the facilities for 5 guys. You can imagine what it'd be like trying to talk to 5 different people now. Everyone would be talking over each other,
Yeah.
So we left it to Peter to do most of it.
How'd you like making movies? Hold On and Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter.
They were a lot of fun, but there's a lot of time where you're just sort of hanging around doing nothing. We ended up playing poker most of the time in dressing rooms and trailers while they were setting up shots. But it was all brand new to us back, especially Hold On. When we got to do the film Hold On, we had no idea what sort of studio facilities they had to do the soundtrack. And when we arrived, we went to what was supposed to be a recording studio. And the equipment was so antiquated that we phoned Mickey and said, "You've got to get out here. They're trying to make us record on half track." And the results they were getting were terrible. So Mickey flew over the next day. And having spoken to P.F. Sloan the day before, he said, "We need some songs for Herman'S Hermits in a film." And P.F. Sloan overnight wrote about 4 songs. I think he had a couple already nearly finished.
Wow.
for different artists. But he wrote Where Were You When We Needed You, Hold On, Must to Avoid, all overnight virtually.
Oh, my goodness.
And then we spent all day at the studio filming, then we'd go to RCA Studios in LA and record the sound at night, so we were sort of falling asleep everywhere.
Karl,
it was good fun, though. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, any movie that you can co-star with Shelley Fabares can't be that bad.
Yeah, we had fun. She used to psychoanalyze us all.
Oh, really?
Psychoanalysts, yeah.
Well, we've been speaking with Karl Green, the legendary Karl Green, and like I said at the top of the interview, boy, Herman'S Hermits plays such a big part in so many of our musical history, and it's so great to know the Karl Green and the Karl Green Band. Well, you're finishing up your stint now, but you'll be back in February and March of 2015, and then April, May, around there.
Yeah, we'll probably be here I'll be here at the tail end of February because I'm writing some stuff and we're in the process of rehearsing and putting an album together.
Oh, how great is that? Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to come back before the tour and get some stuff laid down at a studio we found out here in Indiana. And as soon as we do that, we'll be selling it on the road, obviously. And see if we can get a record company or whatever. I think these days you just sell it online, don't you?
Yes, that's the way to go. I mean, everything is online. And speaking of online, you have a Facebook page that fans can go to, correct?
Yes. It's Karl Green, original bass player with Herman'S Hermits, and Connor runs that for me. So and if anyone sort of calls with questions, I will answer as well. I speak to people on that page. quite, my time is taken up with that. I can't believe how many people get in touch with us through that. Yeah. And if anyone wants to book us, they can contact Kathy Santapietro at mbs website at aol.com.
Okay. Could you say that one more time, Karl?
Just a minute. I have to be prompted here. It's Kathy Santapietro at mbs website at aol.com.
Okay. I'll put that on our website as well, on the Planet Ludwig website as well.
Great stuff.
Well, Karl,
we've known her I've known Kathy since the 60s. She used to work at our office, and she's really keen to get us gigs in the summer.
Yeah, well...
Okay.
Yeah, I thought we'd go out, Karl, listening to, you mentioned it before, Heart, Get Ready for Love. What can you just briefly tell us about that one before we say goodbye?
We actually recorded this in the States, believe it or not. We recorded it in Connecticut, and I think, was it released on the Buddha record label? I think that was on Buddha or Private Stock, I can't remember. But, there's myself, Lek, Barry, and a guy called Frank Renshaw, who was with us. He played rhythm guitar and did backup vocals. And I think the B-side on that has got these Truck Stop Mama that I was talking about earlier, a song that we wrote all about life on the road. Yeah.
Well, Karl,
I hope you enjoy it.
I sure we will, and thank you so much, Karl. Karl Green, the legendary Karl Green. It's been a pleasure, Karl.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure for me.